Hi, everybody, it's Big Stride back with another book review. Yes, that's right, two in a row because I finished that first book that I reviewed super fast. But I'm reviewing Clockwork Princess, the third and final book in the Infernal Devices trilogy by Cassandra Clare. Little background, this is the prequel trilogy to the Mortal Instruments, which is the Shadowhunters series. And this book is so good, but this whole trilogy was amazing. And I, honestly, for the longest time, I wasn't a fan of Cassandra Clare. This book kind of made me a fan of Cassandra Clare, or this series. I mean, this is so good. What happens in the first couple books is they run into this guy called the Magister, or Mortmain, who's this evil guy who's actually human, but his parents were warlocks, and he develops these metal creatures and is trying to attach demon souls to them so they become kind of self-aware demonic robot thingies. And he wants Tessa, the main character, who is a shape changer, but she's more than a shape changer. She's like something else. And you find out what she is in this book. You also find out more about Will and about Cecily and Jim and Jim's story. Jim is the reason I cried through most of this book, I will be honest. Jim brought tears to my eyes. The ending of this, though, the ending of Clockwork Princess really tied the whole trilogy together perfectly, and it really brought it to a nice close, but it also kind of opened it up for the Mortal Instruments, which is how I'm reading it. I'm reading these first, and then I'm going to read the Mortal Instruments. But it was really interesting to see how it ended and to see Tessa's character develop and what she ended up becoming, and to find out the reason behind everything and who she was and why this all was happening to her. It just kind of pulled it all together and made this wonderful, unique story. And we have Will's character who's trying to fight his inner demons and trying to decide is he in love with Tessa, and how does he go about telling Jim that, and how does he go about getting Tessa to realize that. Not to mention he's trying to repair his relationship with his little sister who has come to the Institute and wants to be a shadow hunter now. And it just all kinds of stuff happens in this book. And we also see the characters Gabriel and Gideon develop more as they end up getting involved with the London Institute, and we find them becoming less of the irritating jerks and more of the really lovable characters that have unique stories that we never realized. Like characters like that, you realize kind of makes you realize that you kind of misjudge people and you misjudge characters quite often. A lot of times we have characters that we go, okay, this guy's a jerk, don't like him, don't want anything to do with him. For instance, let's see, Stranger Things just came out. Steve. Steve is a perfect example. Steve is kind of like Gabriel and Gideon. At first, he was a jerk. We all hated him. Season 2 came around. He redeemed himself, and we absolutely loved him. That's what happens with Gideon and Gabriel in this book. And in the end, honestly, Gabriel and Gideon were two of my favorite characters. I'd say Gabriel is my second favorite. Jim is my first favorite. But I absolutely love this. And I actually bought a bookmark the other day that is Clockwork Princess. It's a quote from Clockwork Princess. I just can't remember what it says. There were several options, and I picked one of them. But it has runes all around it. It's really pretty. But if you follow me on Instagram, I have a bunch of pictures on there of books that I'm reviewing, and I have information about books I'm going to be reviewing. Now that I've finished Clockwork Princess, which, by the way, I'm rating this a 4. It was good. I've read better. It kind of took me a while to get through it because, I mean, it's so dense and the story kind of drags on a bit. I think she could have compressed it a little bit more. But it took me a while to get through, so I'm going to rate it a 4. Next, I'm reading Children of Eden by Joey Graceffa, who is a YouTuber. And this is like a sci-fi kind of eco-disaster type story where everybody that is in this domed society could only have one child, and her family has two. And she's never seen the outside world. For 16 years, she's lived in her house, and now she wants to go explore it. But it sounds pretty good. I'm only through the first couple of pages so far. Oh, speaking of which, want to see my bookmark? It's a little Rhysand and Feyre from A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and they're reading A Court of Mist and Fury. Oh, that was cute. That's from the store Nerdy Girl Designs on Etsy and on Instagram. And I think the artist was Silky Tara. I think that's her name. But if you would like to follow me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me. There's a bunch of awesome bookish stores on there that I follow. I'm actually a rep for Little Box of Joy and Fiction Wix. And I absolutely love repping for those guys. Or, well, ladies, but you get my point. But so far, I've read quite a few good books this month. After I read Children of Eden, I'm probably going to do Wonder Woman Warbringer, unless I just got a message the other day from an author, Arnie Quintero. I think I'm saying his name right. I'm not sure. But he is I'm pretty sure it's sci-fi. It's considered young adult sci-fi. But it's also a sci-fi book called Emotions, and he is sending me a copy of his book sometime this week. I'm assuming it's going to be here. But I'm excited to read it. He messaged me and said, hey, do you want to review my book on your Instagram and your YouTube? I was like, yeah, definitely. So I'm going to see if he wants to do an interview with it, too. I'm not sure if he'd want to do an interview or not. But we'll see if he wants to. We might have an interview on here with it. So you never know. But I love you guys. God bless. Peace.